Welcome to my channel, Polywire, a channel dedicated to politics, power, and the most important developments shaping our world today. From Washington to international flashpoints, this is where we break down complex events, cut through the noise, and ask the questions that truly matter. Let me start with this. What happens when political ambition begins to interfere with military decision-making? What happens when national defense is no longer guided solely by strategy and necessity, but by loyalty, optics, and political leverage? Because if the allegations we are about to discuss are accurate, the implications go far beyond one presidency. They strike at the core of democratic governance itself. Over the past weeks, growing alarm has surrounded Donald Trump's relationship with the United States military. Active duty service members, veterans, intelligence officials, and military families are watching closely as reports suggest that military operations may have been delayed, altered, or leveraged for political advantage. For those who wear the uniform, these are not abstract political arguments. They are matters of life, mission success, and trust in civilian leadership. According to a poll conducted by Military Times following the emergence of these allegations, 68% of active duty personnel stated that they disapprove of using operational delays for political purposes. This statistic alone should command attention. The military is historically cautious in expressing political opinions, and for such a large majority of service members to register disapproval signals deep concern within the ranks. This is especially striking given Trump's long-standing image as a president who consistently portrayed himself as a champion of the armed forces. This controversy is already reshaping the political landscape in ways few anticipated. Republican candidates, heading into upcoming elections, now face unavoidable questions. Do they continue to align themselves with a president accused of endangering military readiness for political gain? Or do they publicly distance themselves and risk backlash from the party base? For many, this is no longer a strategic calculation. It is a defining moral and constitutional choice. Democratic strategists, meanwhile, are moving quickly. Campaign advertisements are already being produced, featuring military families asking why accountability seems absent when national security is allegedly compromised. These messages are carefully designed not to inflame partisan divisions, but to appeal to a shared value: the protection of those who serve. That is what makes this issue so powerful. National security and military welfare have traditionally been treated as bipartisan responsibilities. When those norms are threatened, the political consequences ripple far beyond party lines. But elections are only one part of this story. At its heart, this controversy raises fundamental constitutional questions. In the American system, the president's role as commander-in-chief is not ceremonial. It is one of the most consequential responsibilities entrusted to any individual. That role requires placing national defense above personal ambition, political survival, or public image. It demands that military decisions be guided by strategic necessity, intelligence assessments, and the advice of professional commanders, not by calculations about loyalty or political advantage. If a president can allegedly delay critical military operations in order to pressure generals, secure endorsements, or extract political loyalty, then the principle of civilian control of the military becomes distorted. Civilian control is meant to ensure democratic oversight, not political manipulation. Once that line is crossed, the precedent becomes dangerous. It suggests that military readiness itself can be treated as a bargaining chip, subject to the personal interests of whoever occupies the Oval Office. Inside the Republican Party, the reaction has been intense and deeply divided. According to reporting by Politico, senior Republican leaders convened emergency conference calls as the allegations gained momentum. Some argued that the party should focus on condemning the leak of classified information, insisting that the disclosure itself endangered national security. Others countered that the source of the leak was secondary to the seriousness of its contents. They warned that ignoring the substance of the allegations would damage the party's credibility on national defense for years to come. This internal debate has exposed deep fractures. On one side are those who view loyalty to Trump as essential to maintaining party unity and electoral strength. On the other are lawmakers who believe that national security concerns must outweigh political allegiance, even if doing so carries significant political risk. At the grassroots level, Trump's most dedicated supporters have reacted with fury. According to monitoring by Media Matters, pro-Trump social media spaces are flooded with calls to challenge and remove every Republican who signed the resignation letter. These lawmakers are being branded traitors, rhinos, and agents of the so-called deep state. For the base, This moment represents what they see as the ultimate betrayal, proof that even fellow Republicans cannot be trusted to defend Trump against perceived enemies. Trump himself escalated the situation dramatically. Posting from the White House on Truth Social, he dismissed the resignation demand as a hoax and a politically motivated witch hunt. He accused Democrats and what he described as weak Republicans of orchestrating the controversy. He claimed the classified memo was fabricated or manipulated by intelligence agencies seeking to undermine his presidency. Going further, he publicly named several Republican members of Congress who signed the letter, labeling them cowards and warning they would face political consequences. Legal scholars and constitutional experts immediately raised concerns about this response. They pointed out a troubling contradiction, attacking lawmakers for exercising their constitutional oversight responsibilities while simultaneously insisting the allegations are false creates an unstable and alarming dynamic. If the claims truly lack merit, why respond with such intensity? Why attempt to intimidate members of Congress rather than address the substance of the accusations? Historically, defensive overreactions have often amplified public suspicion. In this case, the aggressive rhetoric has only intensified scrutiny and raised further questions about what the evidence may reveal. Stepping back, it becomes clear that this controversy extends far beyond any single individual. This is about whether the presidency itself is bound by meaningful limits. If a commander-in-chief can allegedly use national defense as a tool for personal political advancement and face no consequences, then the balance of power envisioned by the Constitution begins to erode. Oversight loses its force. Accountability becomes optional, and the idea that no one is above the law weakens. The situation reached a historic threshold when a bipartisan group of 47 members of Congress formally demanded Trump's resignation after reviewing evidence suggesting he interfered with military operations for political gain. Bipartisan action of this magnitude is rare, especially in an era of intense polarization. It signals that concern over these allegations crosses ideological boundaries. When Republican committee chairmen publicly break with their own party's president over national security concerns, it marks genuinely unprecedented territory. This is not routine political disagreement. It is a direct challenge rooted in constitutional responsibility. More Republicans are now reportedly reviewing the classified memo themselves, weighing whether to add their names to the resignation demand. At the same time, Trump's legal team appears focused on identifying and investigating the source of the leak, rather than directly addressing the underlying allegations. That strategic choice has not gone unnoticed. Across the country, military families are paying close attention. For them, this debate is deeply personal. They are watching to see whether elected officials will prioritize national defense and troop safety over party loyalty and political expediency. The outcome will shape not only this moment, but future expectations of presidential conduct. So we arrive at a defining question, one that goes to the heart of democratic accountability. If a president can allegedly treat military readiness as a political bargaining chip and face no real consequences, do we still live under a system governed by constitutional limits, or have we crossed a line that fundamentally changes the nature of executive power? That's the conversation unfolding right now, and it's one we all need to be paying attention to.